Piyush, let me know once you go live.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we are going live. I think we should be live in a couple of seconds. Yeah, so we are live.
Yeah. One second. I'll just say hi to you, Piyush, and let me know if you received that. I guess. Uh, did you receive my hi, Piyush?
I think it should come now.
Yeah, Ruqya is also showing up there, so we are live.
Yeah, we are
We can
live.
start.
Yes, so we are live. What's up?
Super.
Yep. So we are
All
once
right,
again,
let's start.
yep, with our. So it's our fifth episode, and actually we are very glad, Rukia, that you are joining because just recently we have celebrated Women's Day, and it's like for us it's a privilege that you are our first female guest,
Ooh, thank you. It's
and
my
and
privilege.
and we are looking forward to learn and get some amazing insights from your side.
Thank you. I'm
So if
looking forward to the
yeah,
conversation too.
yeah. So if I talk about our podcast, the name of the podcast is Life Indeed, where we discuss life the way it is not. So how it started is, so I and Tauseef met almost 2.5 years back, and then we have started sharing a lot of common things, and we have started discussing a lot of things about life, and we came to know that we both have certain types of life experiences which taught us
Hmm.
that the kind of life which we were living earlier, because of certain types of life experiences we have started living a completely different life. So that's why we said that we discuss life the way it is not. and
Okay.
and the context is, so from our childhood we have been taught that you should get good grades in school and college so
Yes.
that you can get a good job, and by getting a good job you can earn good amount of money by which you can live a good life. But I don't think so that just living a good enough life is good enough. Life is way beyond, and with the help of this podcast we want to give perspective to the people that you should also start exploring your life, and you should also start looking for certain experiences which can teach you the way the life which is not. And today we would love to know about your life experiences. Before that, I would request my co-host Tauseef to talk about Ruqya, because we would love to know. Yeah, please, Tauseef.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Piyush. And I think it has now become a trend that I get an opportunity to introduce our guests. So,
Absolutely.
Ruqya, really humbled that you have accepted our request.
Thank you.
And it's been an honor and a privilege that you have come on our show. As my co-host Piyush said, that we recently celebrated International Women's Day, and we all know that women's play a vital and key role in the in evolution of society. Since ages, and it holds true today as well. And who could I think of other than Ruqya Khan, just to invite as our female, uh, you know, guest speaker today. So to be honest, it's my self confession that I was a little nervous to host her today. So lot to learn from you, Ruqya. So you know, if I introduce my audience, all across on all social media platforms, Ruqya is a possibilities coach. She is a smile strategist. So smile was the one acronym which caught my eyeball, in fact. And there is a small little smiley which is kept just on on the couch. Yeah. And she's international ICF certified coach, and she help people who are stuck to unstuck in their life. And she's a mentor to many, and doesn't need an introduction. If you check her profile on across all social media platform. And if I'm not wrong, you're doing the day series, and it is going to be 146th, the next episode that you're going to do, right?
Today was day 1046.
46. So just look at the energy, and I get a lot of inspiration from you, Ruqya. And I see it, as you rightly said at the beginning, that we have started interacting from a very long time, that but we were waiting for this kind of platform where we could interact with each other directly on a one-on-one. Indeed, a great opportunity. So I would continue talking about Ruqya Khan, but
Thank you.
it would be great if she herself introduced her to the audience and let people know who she is. Because I'm pretty sure there are many things that I don't know about you, and so it's a platform where I would also, in fact, my co-host would also get an opportunity to know more about you, your work,
Absolutely.
and how do you contribute to society at large. So over to you, Ruqya.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Piyush and Tauseef, for the kind words, the very encouraging and appreciative words. I really value it. And so, as Piyush said, life is not what it is. Oh, sorry, could you tell me once again what it is? Life?
Life, so we have started living a life the way it was not,
Yeah.
with the help
So,
of certain life experiences.
and the title of your podcast is?
Life indeed.
Life indeed. Okay, so taking from that, life indeed is interesting because I, as Tauseef would be surprised to know, am a graduate of science. I come from the world of words. I have behind me 20 years plus of media experience. It's always been about writing, working with words. However, I'm not a journalist, a journalism student. I started out with my affair with words started when I was around 12. Being a single child, I used to take solace in writing down my feelings on paper, and people said they were poems. So that's how the affair started. I got married pretty early. So if you want drama, I can say I was only a teenager when I got married. But fact of the matter is, I was just 10 days short of my 20th birthday. Had my kids very early, and then came a point where I wanted to know there must be more to life than diapers and dishes. you know uh, I had an education background. I wanted to do something more. I had grown up in the Gulf, in Kuwait. I've lived airlift, by the way. And yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, I thought, so with so much of a diverse experience, there must be something I can do more in life than only diapers and dishes. And that's when the whole curiosity led me to finding out how I could contribute to the local newspaper. So, at every point that I was given a situation where I felt, okay, what next? I didn't stand there and question the situation with pessimism. I questioned it with childlike curiosity. I questioned it with creativity. And maybe it's something innate, or maybe it's something I've inherited from Papa. But it he was always that person who would look for the little bit of light in a dark room and find his way through. So for me, that's how it began the whole journey. And then life gave me opportunities to interview people, and as I interviewed them, I found out about NLP. I'm a master practitioner of NLP. And then came the TEDx talk. And as Tauseef said, I can go on forever, but I'd like this to be a conversation. So let's have a conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the very first question, and I'm very curious to know that what this is smile is all about.
You stole my heart,
Okay.
Pius. I was about to ask the same question.
Thank you for asking. So on the TEDx stage, my TEDx talk is called The Art of Possibility. And I'm probably the first and I might be the only speaker who began her talk with the word Alhamdulillah. And Alhamdulillah is for those of you who don't know, is a way of being grateful for all the blessings that you've been given. And I stood there on stage and I started with Alhamdulillah. And my talk is all about, you move from feeling stuck to unstuck using gratitude and acceptance,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And gratitude, obviously, I didn't go into the details of it because we're taught to be grateful, we're taught to say thank you since we're little. Acceptance, on the other hand, is a tough one, right? So I said acceptance comes when you smile. And I came, and it's an acronym actually. It's S stands for silence the mind. M, manage your attention. I, identify the intention. L, let things go. E, energize the possibilities. So 5 simple steps. And of course, I do a lot of webinars, workshops, etc., foundationed on this. And this is largely the foundation of all the talks that I do.
Okay.
I mean, love
Yes.
this acronym. I mean, it has a lot of meaning. I mean, if we go ahead and elaborate it, and with every word, there is an intention, and there is a reason, there is a possibility to learn and adopt things in life. So, you know, as you said, Ruqya, that it's all about, you started with Alhamdulillah. So I know, I'm aware about this. So it's all about having the sense of gratitude
Yep.
whenever you do anything. So, and I'm pretty sure that you live by your values, because of the fact that I was interacting with you in the morning. You said that it's all about being grateful.
Yep.
So definitely. So as you said that you started your career, you became interested in the words, and you started volunteering a local newspapers. So how you we would like to know, I mean our audience would like to understand that how did you start your journey, and did you know that you will become Ruqya fan that you are today at that time, and how was the journey? I mean, just
Okay.
about talk a little bit about your journey.
Okay. So even now, I don't know who I'm evolving into and what I'm going into, because, as I said, I look at everything from with curiosity. So when I got my first byline in the newspaper as a writer, um, that coincidentally happened to be my 5th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. So if you pick up my passport, I have a different surname. So Ruqya, it's Khan is my husband's surname. So I literally took on his name, and that became very precious for me because I was able to take on an identity that has become a part of my world and then do something with it, to grow it. I didn't know what it would lead me to. All I knew at the time was I had two amazing people who were watching me. My daughter, who had just started school, and my son, who was 8 months old at the time. So I often say, when at a time when most women hang their boots was when I decided to wear my shoes.
brilliant.
Most people kind of stop working when they have kids because they feel it's too much to do, but I
correct.
started it at that point because I felt she's going to watch and she's going to know this is how you can live your life. And obviously I would expect her to take it one level up. And with my son, he would know that, okay, this is how a wife can be, this is how a mother is to carry herself. So that's all the intention was, and to be honest, even now that's the only intention that drives me.
Great. In
I mean,
fact,
I all I can say, yeah.
yeah. In fact, I can literally resonate with your thought that you want to create an example for your daughter. So that's the reason. In fact, just 2 months back only, I also resigned from my job and I started my entrepreneur journey. So one of the major reasons is I want to set an example for my son, because I don't want to give him a legacy of an employment, or you can say I want to give him a mindset of entrepreneur or a businessman, or somebody who is just not making his living with the help of job.
Hmm.
So there are other reasons I am following my passion, but one of the major reasons is I want to set an example for my son,
And
and and
that's
and that's very important. Yeah,
true. And a lot of times parents give examples, they explain things, they give examples, yet they do something. They tell them to go to sleep, not to be on the phone, not to be on the playing games, etc., and they're stuck on their phones.
right.
So you're just giving examples, you're not being the example. And I think that's
Absolutely.
very important.
Absolutely,
So I
absolutely,
think there are
very
only two things. As one of my mentor usually use this, that either you become the example for your family and the close one, or you become a warning. So
I like that.
and I think
interesting.
I can, as a Piyush, you mentioned that one of the reason is that you also want to become an example for your son, and I think that what better example can be than this. And I can also resonate with Ruqya when it comes to marrying at a very early stage. I also got married at a very early stage. I have two kids, and and I know how it feels when you get married at a very early stage, and at times you have those inferiority complex, that what next, because we see in our families, we see marriage as one of the milestone in personal life. Then what happens after marriage is something that you have to take fresh decisions in your life, because you are not the only responsible person. Now you have to take your husband's stake or your wife's stake in your life, and you can't
Correct.
do everything on your own. So I think hats off to you, Rukia, because you're setting an example,
Thank you.
to your family, as well as not only to family but society at large. And I think it's a brilliant example and
Thank
But
you.
inspiration to many.
I would love to understand this, but what was your mindset? Because so most of the people, or most of the female, just literally surrender to their situation. In fact, a lot of
Hmm.
male also does the same thing. But
Absolutely.
so how did you take that leap of faith, or how did you take that decision that you want to live a completely different, or you want to evolve, you want to go one level up? How was your mindset before that, and how did you evolve?
Okay, so I come from a culture where I didn't have a say. I mean, I won't say I didn't have a say. Of course, my opinion was asked, but I was very okay with how life was progressing,
Okay.
because I came from a very cocooned environment where single child, protective mother, authoritarian mother, father very submissive. So they took most of my decisions, and when it came to this decision of marriage, for me it felt more like a breath of fresh air. As you said, it felt more like the next step in life. It felt like, okay, I'm now going to evolve into a new person or a new way of being myself. And I am very grateful for the person that I am a part of, a person I'm for my husband, because he understood and was very encouraging of whatever I wanted to do, and he still is. And the beauty is he understands my trigger points, so he knows that how to push me forward, when to kind of just have a talk with me, and the communication level in within my family has been, I'm very grateful for the way we communicate with each other, the very open conversations. My children as well. In fact, when I was not doing as I would have, when I lost Papa and the children left the nest, I was not coaching, I wasn't writing, I wasn't speaking. I just shut everything out. It was a conversation with my son that made me reconsider what I'm doing. It
Okay.
takes guts. So something as simple as, "So Ma, what have you been up to?" And I said, "I'm your mother, you can't speak to me like this." He said, "All of that is fine. What about accountability?" At age 18. So you are having that openness in those conversations is what allows everybody in in a family unit to grow, to evolve, and find themselves.
So it's very interesting point, actually. So in one of the talk show, somebody asked Jay Shetty that what kind of skills people should have in their life. So most of the people give this common answer that you should have this skill or that skill, but the answer which Jay Shetty gave, I think it's very important. So he said that uh, we should learn to have difficult conversations.
Hmm.
It's one of the most important skills to have in life, because most of the people just keep on avoiding certain conversations because they don't want to get into those difficult moments where you have to become vulnerable, where you have to say something which you are not you, which you are trying to avoid speaking. So I think, but it's very important that you have such kind of difficult conversations,
Yeah,
and as you said very correctly, that having this communicative environment, having this conversation is very very important. So I also personally believe that so with my wife, with my everybody, if you want to grow a good relationship, then communication, conversation are the most important parameters.
absolutely. I
Yeah,
do agree.
yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, uh, I truly resonate with both of you. You know, and when it comes to the basic and fundamental skills that we all need to develop, because communication, having difficult conversation, but I believe that it all start with your family first. You
Hmm.
know, we generally aim to develop our communication skills in order to have a better communication with either in our job or in the society, or maybe
True.
to express in public or on a stage. But I think it all starts with your closed one first.
Hmm.
Absolutely,
And I believe the more
absolutely.
open you are with your family members, the more comfortable you are with your kids, with your moms, with your dad, I think the more open you would be. It is highly likely the more you would be, I mean, you'll be open with other as well. So I think Ruqya
And
has to say something on this.
yes, I do, because because I actually want to take it one level up, or should I say one level down. Before the family, what's your level of communication with yourself?
Yourself. I was
Yeah.
Absolutely.
about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah, because are you having those difficult conversations with yourself? I, of course, put my defenses up when he asked me that question, but later on, when he left me with what about accountability, and then I had to think with myself, go inward and ask myself that question. Yeah, what about accountability? This is a value I've always spoken about with the kids, when I coach, when I train. So how honest am I being with that value? And what will happen if I continue to be where I am in the dark, or what will happen if I begin to do something more with what I've been given? So it's also very important to assess and have an audit of your conversations with yourself.
right.
Agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think very, very important point that so in fact, most of the people just not make full of others, but they make full of themselves only.
Themselves.
They
True.
just keep on lying to them own selves, and this thing I just keep on saying, or keep on telling people that the biggest lie which we tell ourselves is, I'm waiting for the right time.
Oh, yes.
That's
uh,
Absolutely.
the biggest lie we just keep on telling ourselves.
I have a quote of mine that says the concept of perfection is flawed.
Absolutely.
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 I mean, there's no perfection. We all
No, there
keep
isn't.
on chasing it.
It's
As
just
I was reading, in fact, Jay Shetty's book only, and he mentioned about, one of the paragraph where he quoted Kabir Das and Kabir Das from 15th century, that he gave an example of a deer musk. So, deer musk picks up a scent,
hmm,
from somewhere out of the blue moon, and he
right.
keeps searching it through entire life, and he never gets that. He
Hmm.
die, but he never know that scent was inside the deer musk itself. So similarly, in all of us, we never ask questions to ourselves. We
Hmm.
seek answers, we seek validation from others. We our source of confidence at times lies in other people. If they say, okay, you are looking great, oh, that's how we will feel like, yes, I'm looking great. But we never ask. There are lots of auto suggestions that we have. We believe in hetero suggestions, but the auto suggestion, the mind chatters that keeps on going within ourselves, if we really ask you know uh, questions with ourselves, all the answers we can find within us. As Ruqya said, that yes, in order, before we go ahead and start the conversation with the family, we should start having the conversation with self.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
absolutely agree with this. So I
Absolutely.
have one question, Ruqya.
Yes, yes,
So
please.
as I know that you talked a little bit about your journey, how you started, you got married at a very early stage, and then uh, and I feel like that you have converted many obstacles into opportunities. The way you have spoken, and the journey I have witnessed
Thank
in
you.
2.5 years. So, what is that one advice that you would like to give to all females? Because we are doing this show, and you are our first female guest. I have, few female friends who are in my network, and they were very keen to understand, like, and they are also married. So, what is that single most important motivational factor that drove you always, and what would be that one advice to all the females in our network?
Okay, so what I would advise them to do is to grow through what they go through. And when I say grow through, again, it's an acronym that, of course, the phrase itself is very commonly used. But when I look at the word grow, I'm looking at gratitude, I'm looking at resilience, I'm looking at ownership, and I'm looking at wonderment. So if you
Awesome.
can have gratitude for anything and everything, and because as you know, you're supposed to be great. I mean, gratitude should not be only for the good times, but also the bad, because they've come to shape you
Absolutely.
in some way or form. Um, it changes you. Even a challenge that you go through changes you. It molds you. Resilience, being resilient is important. You can't just give up after 2 days of trying. People go on diets and 3 days later they're back to a cheat day. Why? Because it was too tough. You have to be resilient for results.
Correct.
Ownership. My life is this way because of my in-laws. My life is like this because of my husband, my children, the market, the economy, the moon, the sun. It will blame everybody except taking ownership. So what if you could take ownership? It's your life at the end of the day.
Correct.
Setting boundaries is your responsibility. Deciding what you're letting into your space is your responsibility, and not just people, I mean thoughts. And the last is wonderment. Wonderment being, are you curious about what can happen next? Or are you only curious about what negative can happen? Sometimes we're so focused on the failures or the past that we don't look at the future with curiosity. So coming from a place of wonderment. So my advice to people would just be to grow through what you go through.
Very true.
Very
Amazing
true.
insight.
Thank you.
But Ruqya, I think, but most of the people just tend to go towards negativity.
Yeah.
So as you say that, so everybody, whenever they start something new, so let's say, so when I also started my entrepreneurship journey, so the first question comes in mind is, what if I will fail? For most of the people, I have started my journey 2.5 years back, and now I have developed that kind of mindset, because of which I don't think that what if I will fail. I will ask myself, what if I will succeed.
Right.
you know
Absolutely.
but then how to develop that mindset?
Okay. So, Piyush, tell me, you've been on a job for a long time, and then you decided to take the entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
What made you take that decision, if you don't mind me asking you?
The most important reason was, so as you say that, I always used to have the self talk with myself, that Piyush, what kind of life you are living, what kind of life you want to live further. So till the age of 37, I just kept on living that orthodox life. I did my engineering. I started, my job. I started earning good enough money. I started living a kind of life where I was satisfied. But then at the age of 37, I asked myself that, Piyush, your half life is done. If my average life is, let's say, 80 years, my half life is done. So
Hmm.
do I really want to live the same kind of life for the rest of my life as well? I simply asked myself that, and then the answer was no. I don't want to live the same life which I lived. And then I took my leap of faith. I took that 1 year of mentorship, and after that I have started exploring so many things. I've
Okay.
started doing so many things with my passion. Yeah, so that was the main question which I asked to myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that question definitely came after a lot of painful days.
absolutely,
And
absolutely,
you had the option of either continuing to stay in that pain
right,
and negativity, or to shift towards pleasure, right? So
true,
a person is motivated either to run away from pain, and that's what you started it. That's how you started it. So when people are constantly focusing on the negative, they are amplifying their pain. And to some extent, this might sound contradictory, but to some extent, it's good, because the more they amplify their pain, they will get to that point where they cannot bear it anymore,
correct,
or they will perish.
correct,
So they will get to that point where they can't bear it anymore. It will get suffocating, and then they will want to shift to a more pleasant environment, a more pleasurable environment. And they
true,
will take a decision to kind of stop being where they are and transitioning.
right,
Now, what the two of you have done is you've transitioned further. You've transitioned not just to pleasure, you've transitioned to purpose,
correct,
right? So it's
absolutely right,
it's it's no longer about being an entrepreneur or doing something on your own. You've taken it one level up, and you've got a purpose for yourself, wherein you want to talk about how life can be indeed,
absolutely,
which is why you're doing this. This comes from a place of service. So there are different levels to how a person can be motivated. And
right,
if you're focusing on negative, think again. There's always a story. In a story, there's always a point where somebody goes to the edge of the cliff and falls off, and they
correct,
can't take it anymore. And that's when
correct,
they learn to fly. Nobody's ever going to learn to fly just suddenly deciding. There is something that drives them to jump, take that leap of faith, and then find their wings.
absolutely, absolutely. So in fact, I also used to tell people that why do we like to watch movies where hero is struggling and at the end of the movie hero, fight with villain and then he wins.
Hmm,
If the hero's life is very simple, then why we will watch the movie,
hmm,
but when it comes to your own, life or your own movie, then why you just give up with your challenges?
true.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
do. I
thank you,
do
Ruqya.
agree. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ruqya, for making us realize that we are not that frog which is waiting inside that boiling water. We
No,
have.
you're definitely not.
Thanks a lot. And indeed, I mean, the acronyms that you shared, it's all about having the perspective, which has not only changed yourself first, but it 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 is going to change the society at large. So definitely a lot to learn what you have shared. And I just wanted to take 1 minute to acknowledge the audience which is live with us, and just say
yeah,
thank you to all of you who have joined today. This special episode of ours. And we have a lot of people from our FHB community as well. So thanks a lot for everyone for having here. And I'm sure we have parked last 10 minutes of our this episode to ask questions from our guests. So looking forward to have some good questions, and that we would like to ask Ruqya. So thanks a lot for joining us. And Ruqya, please don't mind, I was just looking at the screen just to check who all are there.
No
So
issues.
because it was looking a little bit awkward to me that I was not,
No, it's perfectly
looking at
fine.
the screen.
Perfectly fine.
So,
Yes.
Ruqya, one open question that maybe, this is my personal belief that you have to make sure that you keep on learning every day,
Hmm.
because that's how you accumulate. Just like, as we all know about the compounding effect, the money keeps on accumulating over a certain period of time. It becomes a very large, and you have a very comfortable retirement.
Hmm.
Similarly, if you keep on learning every day, you accumulate those chunks of knowledge, and then you not only become a very, you change your identity, but you start changing the identity of others as well.
Yes.
So as you have written in your intro as well, that you help people to, who are stuck in their life, to unstuck. So just tell us about, sort of that process. What do you use to, basically, how do you help people who are
Okay.
stuck to become unstuck in their life? And probably we could also learn from that, and the
absolutely,
audience will also get benefited.
Okay.
absolutely,
So the primarily what I do is, of course, the one-to-one coaching calls are there. Plus, I run a mastermind.
Okay.
So I have a 90-day mastermind program. So most people say that it takes 21 days to form a habit. But what I've realized is after 21 days, when a person lets go of the hand of the mentor, they tend to go bounce back into it's relatively easier for them. So I like stretching things. So 90 days is what I do. And through the 90 days, every day you're given a task to do. And then there's ownership. Each and every one in the mastermind group is accountable to one another. So we work as a group. There are group coaching calls. We even have modules on different things as communication, personality types, mind mapping. Different tools. We go deep dive into it, and that has been quite helpful. I've got almost 86% of people on board. We recently ran a poll, and around 86% of the people said they felt supported. They felt more
Wow.
focused. They felt less stress. So somewhere I felt, okay, I'm on the right track with this, because obviously there is value that is being delivered, and there is appreciation for it. So a mastermind is where I'd invite people to come join on board. And then later on, if they want to work on something more personal and closely, then of course the one-to-ones. And then there are workshops that I do, mindset workshops for corporate spaces as well as education hubs.
Great. Great to know this. And I
So one
think,
of our audience is saying that,
yeah.
ma'am, how did you get started your career and became a founder of Smilistic, which inspired
Smile-tastic.
us? Yeah,
Smile
Smiletastic,
stick. Wow.
which
That's a
inspired
very
us
interesting name.
mostly.
Okay. I started my career, as I said, I come from a world of words, and I started my career as a freelance writer for Gulf News and later international publications. Life gave me the opportunity to interview high achievers. So in 2010, I was given the opportunity to interview 8 people, high profile. And during these interviews, 5 out of 8 of them spoke about NLP.
Okay.
And that's where the awareness started about what NLP is, because and I observed that these people spoke very confidently. Their way of conveying their message was very different, very distinct. So I said, I want some of this for myself, and that's how I got into the personal development space. Did my master practitioner 2015, and somewhere I was always curious, which is why when I did the TEDx, I wasn't a trained speaker, yet I chose to be that. So to answer her question, how did I found Smiletastic? The name itself is given by my daughter, by the way. She says,
Wow.
Ma, you talk about smile and the work you do is fantastic. So let's put it together and call it Smiletastic. So
Wow.
it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's fun. It's hip. So that's how I did it. And I was on a learning journey with the Badri Social Entrepreneurship Program. And there I picked up a lot of things about business, coming up with a business plan, etc., etc. And so I said, this is to be done, because you need to be licensed to serve properly. And so that's how it was created.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Thank you so much.
Ruqya, I would love to know that what are your source of learning? Like how you develop yourself on a regular basis?
So I'm constantly consuming content, whether it is through, again, I'm a big advocate of the mastermind way of being. So I'm on various learning platforms
Okay.
with fellow entrepreneurs, mompreneurs. I'm on a mompreneurs tribe.
Oh,
Yeah, so
It's interesting.
moms who are entrepreneurs, because it's nice to surround yourself with people who are learners.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
I have a morning 7 a.m. club where literally we gather on a Friday at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Fridays are our days off. So we get together, we encourage, we talk about something that's important to us. And then by the time we get back to our respective spaces, our families are still asleep because it's the weekend. So having that circle of, I call it circle of genius, having that circle of genius that is in alignment with your progressive thinking is super important. And I think more than any book or course that I might have done, this enriches me, being surrounding
Absolutely.
myself with the right people,
Very
which
true.
is why I'm here.
So in fact, we also have a community named Fellow Human Beings actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the community name is itself Fellow Human Beings.
Lovely.
So we are just bunch of people, and we just meet every Wednesday at 10 p.m. We
Hmm.
meet online and we have mastermind session like you mentioned. So that's very true that you can learn from each other's life experiences, and that's what actually we are doing right now as well. And
True.
it's really fascinating to learn from your life experience, which are very very much inspiring.
Thank
So
you.
Ruqya, if you can suggest some books which you must have read in your life which has impacted, so if
Okay.
you can suggest some of the books to our audience.
I'm a big fan of Andrew Matthews.
Okay.
He's written a book called Follow Your Heart,
Okay.
and there are other books as well. And the crux of his writing is happiness.
Okay.
And I got, got inclined towards him because I picked up his books for my children. His books have cartoons in them,
Oh, nice.
very very simple, but very with a message.
Mm-hmm.
So bigger font, simple reading, and cartoons. So I picked it up at the airport, and interestingly, on the flight, I started reading.
Okay.
I got hooked.
Interesting.
And it was lovely because I've actually had the opportunity to interview him at the National Achievers Congress.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So there were the stars of the show. The star of the show was Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh.
Wow.
And while the rest of the media was rushing to have interviews with Robert Kiyosaki, I stood with my book waiting for Andrew Matthews. And people were like, "Are you for real? You don't want to interview Robert Kiyosaki?" I said, "I don't know Robert Kiyosaki. I know him, but I don't connect with him. He's not my vibe. I want to talk to Andrew Matthews because he's very simplistic, and his work is very easy to digest, whether it is a young teenager or even a young child for that matter who can read, and to adults of any age."
Right. In fact, I read in your profile that you have shared the stage with Prince as well.
Yes, Prince Ia. And that was again, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was at the second Achievers Congress that I was at,
Okay.
and I was literally volunteering at that event. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason I was volunteering, Piyush, is because I was at that time still in that phase where I was pushing myself to get out of that dark space,
Right. Right.
not in the right mind frame. So I was volunteering. I took up opportunities to be of service
Mm-hmm.
at places where I would find inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So in queue, lined up, and then I see him with the hoodie on and walking. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Prince Ia. And I rushed to him. I had backstage access. So I went up to him and I spoke to him. And I always wear this badge, no
Okay.
matter what avatar I'm in. So I
Wow.
was wearing the badge and he asked me about the badge, and I told him, and I just got chatty with him. And it was coincidentally day 300 or something of my daily commitment, and he found that very inspiring. He said, "Wow, that's fascinating. 300 days, how did you manage to pull it off?" and all of that. And we walked him backstage, and I said, "Hey, would you be okay to kind of come and join me when I do the live today?" And he said, "Why
Wow.
not? I appreciate when when people
It's
are
amazing.
so committed, and 300 days plus." They're fine. So that's how it happened. It's a very fun video to watch. I'll share it with you
Please, please. We
because
would
he's
we
super
would love
tall and I'm perfectly 5 feet.
that. Okay.
So it was fun to do. But
So what this is daily commitment? What it is exactly? Can you
okay.
share something?
So by now you must have guessed I'm a bit of a chatterbox. And on
Not at all.
so on my Facebook page, which is RK Writes,
Hmm.
RITES.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I set this page up almost 6 years ago. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason this happened was in the era when we used to just put our statuses on our Facebook wall, my
Mm-hmm.
friends would look at the one liners and say that, this stuff is good. You need to put your name against it.
Okay.
So they would say, these are your thoughts, you need to put your name against it. And then somebody suggested set up a page. So I set up a page. Then somebody told me how I can make quote images from my words and then
Right.
take ownership.
Right.
So I started using an app that would let my quotes also get saved on Instagram. Long story short, on my flight from Perth after that conversation with my son, as I was flying out, I started making a list of all the quotes I had accumulated over the years. And that was close to 600.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's where the whole idea. Initially, I wanted to do a perpetual calendar with it, but then as I came home and once again found myself getting into that habit of, sleeping in late, not facing the world, not even getting out of bed until 5 o'clock in the evening. I thought, what could I do so that I would get out and literally face the world? So every day I started picking one quote, announcing it in advance, and then doing a video on it every single day.
Wow.
I've run out right now, 1,000 plus, but every day I think of something, or I have an interesting conversation like this where I say something and I say, that was interesting. Let me write it down and then let me present that tomorrow.
In fact, we both can resonate with this because we both have tried this. I did for 100 days. Tauseef also did for 100 days. So we know the pain, I mean, the challenge, and you did it for
Absolutely.
1000 days. I mean, that's
It's a goal
remarkable.
for us.
Thank you. And
10x action. I mean,
thank you. And
so
it's not
yeah.
like I'm sitting at home. Pre pandemic, I used to travel a lot. I've presented in 7 countries already. My smile workshop. I've presented in 7 countries. Thank you. So if even if I'm traveling, I would show up. You know, so it
That's
makes
what that's
makes
what
a
I
difference.
think
And
that
that's a part of your growth, being resilient to,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
absolutely.
Ruqya, sorry, actually, I think we have already crossed 40 minutes,
Yeah.
so I hope
Yeah.
you're not getting late.
No,
If we
I'm
could
perfectly fine.
entertain our audience's questions, so I would like to request our audience who have joined us today. And by the way, just to let you, today we have the highest engagement. I'm pretty sure it is just because of we have
Thank you.
Ruqya
Because
today.
of
Thank you.
absolutely.
So absolutely. So really grateful to have you,
Thank you.
Ruqya. So I would like to ask our audience if they have any questions, please do post. And we have Bhavin and lots of people. I'm just Akash and Jignesh, a lot of people from our FHP community. So please do post if you have any questions for our guest today. And we would like to ask in the interest of time because we have already passed our committed time that was 40 minutes. And I'm sorry, okay, we have already
No, no,
taken like
no.
Yeah, I
6 to 7 minutes
mean, really
of your
appreciate.
diary.
No, no issues. You know what? When you're having a good time, time flies, and this conversation has
Absolutely.
been very enriching. Thank you for asking me the right questions, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm glad. No issues at all on the extra time.
And
We
in a
appreciate
way,
that.
I know for a fact that when I in the morning when I was having conversation with you, you said that obviously this is your family time. So so we are
Really
really
appreciate.
thankful that you
Thank
have
you.
taken out of your precious family time and you have
No issues.
come here to speak to us and enrich our audience and us. So really thankful for you to take out that time for us. So
I'm
we'll just take
grateful.
for one more minute. We'll
No
just wait
issues.
for if there are any questions. Otherwise, we would like to conclude. Piyush,
In
in the
fact,
meantime, you have.
in fact, we would love to have you, once again as well, whenever
No
it's
issues.
possible for you
Welcome.
to. Yeah, we can have some more detailed conversation about certain topics.
Definitely.
So I would like
No
to
Yeah.
issues
call.
at all. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to call upon certain feedbacks that our audience is basically
Yeah.
giving to us.
Yeah.
Bhavin is
Please.
saying it's really amazing to know about Ruqya and he has learned a lot today
Thank you.
as he's saying. Bhavika is saying, wow, really amazing. Digvijay has also joined us who's saying that awesome and inspiring journey. So
Thank you.
I'm sure your journey will definitely inspire a lot of us. And, I'm sure you're not, you don't need an introduction. You're known to many, but our audience, particularly, definitely has been familiar with someone whose journey is like has been a roller coaster and been very mark of resilience. So somebody's asking how you make. Okay, so Bhavika is asking one question, that how do you make content daily? So I'm sure you have already explained about the quotes, but she's curious to know about daily contents that you make.
So I pick a quote. Like for example, if I'm having this conversation with the two of you, there would be something that I said in the conversation that really stuck out for me, or someone would have left a comment on it about it. And actually, let's do this, guys. If you've been listening right from the start, if I've said something that really stuck out for you, put it down as comments so that I can refer back to it, because I was
Right.
so engrossed with the two of them, I didn't really look at it from that perspective. And often I pick up my quotes from my coaching conversations. When I'm being the coach, when I'm doing a one-to-one or on the mastermind, is where I'm more aware and in tune that, okay, let me be mindful of what I'm speaking. So I
Right.
pick a quote and then I speak on it. It's as simple as that for me now, because like for example, today's quote was, tears help shed weight.
Interesting.
you know uh,
Interesting.
and without going into the details of it, I was with a client who was holding on to a lot of emotions and being strong, and somewhere there I said tears help shed weight, because this person was coming from a space of emotional eating, binge eating. And as a coach, that these are the areas where you get impacted, whether it is physically or psychologically. So breaking it down into that, keeping it engaging, and of course asking people to make a commitment, a powerful commitment of I am towards the end. So I post these videos on YouTube. I've stopped posting it on LinkedIn. So if anybody would like to, please join the platform there, the channel there.
Absolutely, and I would like to tell the audience that we would share Ruqya's YouTube and Instagram channel link today uh, in this space where everybody's chatting, and somebody's saying she's really very inspiring personality. So thank you so much, and
Thank
she
you.
is indeed
Thank you so much.
very inspiring, and not only audience, but somewhere down the line, I personally feel that I have learned something today.
Thank
This
you,
was
Tauseef.
very special show, and these 45 minutes, and I think this is the first show where we didn't realize that we were questioning and you were answering. It was
It's just
very interactive
conversation, right?
because of the fact that you made us really comfortable.
Absolutely.
When you started the conversation, so
Really
really
appreciate.
thankful.
Thank you.
And in
And
fact, yeah.
what goes around comes around. I felt very comfortable with the conversation, and as you rightfully said, we're living life the way we think it's supposed to be led.
Yeah.
Had I pursued with the journey of being, my mom wanted me to be a doctor. So if I would have pursued that, imagine. I mean, so many people that would have missed out on a smile. So
True.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, I'll be taking this takeaway from you, that as you are carrying your smiley, uh, as you said, wherever you go. So I am also a very big advocate of living a superhero life, actually. So that's what my and I wrote my book. I think somewhere it is there
Yes.
behind me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
we can
So
see
it
that.
is called Superhero Next Door. So I also want to have such kind of tag by which I can
Yeah.
convey
Go
my
for it.
message. Yeah.
Go for it.
We want
Yeah.
to see you in that
The
full suit,
Absolutely.
superhero,
superhero with the cape and all. So
cape and pandex and everything.
earlier, Tauseef had asked me about the Smile Stress Buster, right? That
Right.
that is over here. I literally
Yeah.
give this to everyone that I meet.
Wow.
And when I say everyone, I've had the good fortune of interviewing Vishen Lakiani of Mind Valley as well.
Oh, super.
I've also interviewed Robin Sharma. So when I interviewed,
Wow.
thank you. So when I interviewed Vishen 2 years prior, I had interviewed him and I asked him about a smile. My question was, what is your thoughts about a smile? He gave me his answer. The next consecutive year, when he was in town and I met him again, I gave him the stress buster. He
Mm-hmm.
remembered.
Mm-hmm.
he remembered and he said, "Didn't we meet last year and you asked me about a smile?" And I said, "Yes." So having consistency in your message can be super impactful. So,
Absolutely.
I think
My biggest takeaway.
it is one of the biggest takeaway for all of us, because you're not only inconsistent in your thoughts, your values that you live by, but in your messaging. And I
that's
think
important.
it is one of the way to, as we rightly say, we hear most of the time that people would, they may not remember what you say or what you act upon, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
True.
So the way you are making other people feel about you, I think you're giving the people memories, and people will never
Thank you.
forget that. So
Thank you.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And you know final call,
Think
Piyush, if you have any questions before we
no,
conclude.
not really, because now we have already taken uh, more
It's okay.
time. So,
It's
so
all right.
lastly,
Thank
And
you.
once again,
people are posting quotes of quoted by Ruqya in the
Thank
chat
you.
box. So
Thank
it's
you.
really
dear
humble.
help, shared
So,
made great.
so,
Absolutely.
so, so what I'm going to do now is, once we're done with this, I will refer to those comments and I will be speaking about that on the channel. So join in and be part of those conversations later on.
Absolutely. We would
Thank
love to
you.
Love
do
to.
that.
We love to. Once again, thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Ruqya.
Thank you so
Really
much, Ruqya.
appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
everyone. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.